What's up, Neil?
Oh, there you go. It's, man, I was just mesmerized by the song there.
Yeah,
so I was
little Lumineers, right?
Yeah, I was looking off into the distance and then remembering that I'd been to a concert, I think, with
Well, hey, thank you
Moose.
for snapping back into it and joining us for episode 13 of season 2 here with Mustapha Haidar.
Moose. AKA Moose. No
What's
antlers.
up, Moose?
The boys.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Of course.
For those that don't know, Moose is my son-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
So I was
By
married
choice.
to my daughter Elena and father of 2 great kids that have made me a grandpa, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Or as we call me, Gamp.
Gamp.
Yes.
Gamp.
I have a hard time still putting that in writing because
Yeah.
I've watched Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And I hate to someone get it misconstrued. You know, bring out the Gimp. No, I'm Gamp! That'd be a great
You're
meme.
still early enough.
Bring
that
out
you
the
could-
Gamp.
Still early enough in age where you can make a change.
No, I love being Gamp. I love that name. So awesome. We've been talking about getting you on for quite some time.
Yeah.
All the way back in season 1. But
Absolutely.
obviously you've been a little busy.
2 kids.
2 kids, pretty busy career going on.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for taking the time. I know we
Yeah.
got a bunch of people
We're glad to
upstairs
have
right
you.
now wishing we were upstairs and not
course,
taking the time to do this. But, you know, sometimes 2 dudes comes first.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
So speaking of that, you were on board with us from day one.
Yes.
You know, I've told the story where the idea came to me. I mean, it's something that's been dwelling for 20 years in different variations, but I decided a podcast. And I remember shortly, you were one of the first people I told after the family and stuff. And you actually gave me some really good advice, so I appreciate that. Because I've never watched a podcast, never listened to one, never,
Yeah.
you know, and I know that you did. So it was like, when we first started out, you were like, hey, do, you know, just the little things that I think helped us, you know, gain those tens of followers that we have now.
One thing, too, is from listening to podcasts, it's people who love what they're talking about. Sure. So you actually love this.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be effortless for you.
Right.
You know, so it's like less forced upon, where some podcasts you could just tell they're just doing it to do it. But
Right. It's like,
knew
oh,
this was something
if
you
I do a
enjoy.
podcast on this and work from this script, I might become famous. And that's
Yeah.
not what it's about.
No,
It's
you're
like,
not trying to do a biology podcast. You know?
no, I don't care about murder.
No.
I love live music, you know, I mean. But, no, that's what it's all about. And you hit it on the head. We love talking about it. We love going to shows. And,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's even more of it now. We go to more shows so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But more importantly is having people like you and everyone else on the show, you
Yeah.
know, and reminiscing and talking about shit we might go to
Yeah.
and everything else. Do you listen to any other, like, music podcasts, or what do you normally listen to?
No, I'm a big Joe Rogan guy.
Okay.
And I like more of his one-off ones, you know. So people talk about aliens,
Right.
health ones, you know, comedian ones, and then MMA ones.
Okay.
Those are big ones. That's probably my daily drive,
Okay.
you know, to and from work. That's probably my main one. And then there's a few other ones that are just funny.
All right.
Yeah, like there's a company named Full Send. They actually make Happy Dad.
Okay.
And they just have entertaining people on, you know.
Yeah, they
poker
do. I
ones,
know
yeah.
what Full Send are.
Yeah,
They're-
great podcast.
Yeah.
so I never knew
I've
that
never
came
listened to their
okay.
podcast, but I know that they have that one. Well, the main, I guess, host or whatever.
Yeah.
Forget his name. I don't know. I'm sure you do, but they have actually really good podcast.
Oh yeah,
They'll get, like
it's grown quickly. Dana White,
White from MMA,
Donald
yeah.
Trump twice.
Trump, and you know
Yeah.
they'll get great guests.
So wait,
on there.
those guys are the ones that are behind Happy Dad?
Those ones are the guys behind Happy
Yeah.
Dad. And if this
Okay,
ever
I
makes
never
it
put
big,
that together.
They better give me a cut.
I agree.
We've been trying with Bells and Founders and Sheboygan
Happy
Brewing.
Yeah.
We're still holding out hope for Oddside, right, Craig? Hey, Craig, where you at, bro? Oddside.
And we opened the show with Moose saying, "I'm a happy dad."
Yeah, really.
Because he has
Yep.
2 kids now. I'm a happy dad.
Yes, sir.
Come on, happy dad.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
just
those
saying
kids
it
are
every-
amazing. But yeah, so we went to Primus. I got my shirt from Sasanta, so it was Primus, Perfect Circle, and Pussifer at Pine Knob. Which one was the opening night of Pine Knob? I've never been to that before.
No, that's
And
pretty
then
sweet.
This concert was amazing.
Yeah.
Because it was all three of them, but they had like all three drum kits right next to each other up on risers. And then like it started with Perfect Circle, I think, did like 3 or 4 songs, and Primus came out, then Mustapha, and they just kind of kept going back and forth. And eventually, like, all of a sudden 2 drummers are playing with one of the bands, then by the end all of them are on the stage.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think that, how different was it being that it was the opening night of Pine Knob?
I would say it really wasn't a big deal at all.
Interesting.
For me, it kind of was personally, just because I'd never
Yeah.
been to like the first night of Pine Knob. It's like, you know, it was May 2nd. We actually got a beautiful day. I mean,
Because I would think a lot of the veterans and you know, people who really enjoy live music that would have the similar take that you would have.
So back in the day, Eddie Money used to be like the first person kind of open up Pine Knob, and it was like this big thing, and then he passed on. And to be honest, I was surprised that Sasanta was at Pine Knob because it was May 2nd.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a shitty ass day. We got lucky as hell, but a lot of like, even I think it's Freedom Hill I saw the other day, they're not opening up till like this weekend. You know, later in the month.
Yeah.
So, in fact, since Sasanta, I went to Neil Young last Wednesday, and that was only the second show. So there were 20 days before they even had a second show there.
I like that question because did it make you feel, oh my gosh, that was the first concert or the first show opening of Pine Knob, and I'm like, I didn't really think it was like super special, but personally, yeah, we went to the
that was
first
cool.
show,
Yeah,
you
see,
know.
I would figure that there's got to be a percentage of people who love live music like you guys do, and it's got to have some dictative effect of the show.
Yeah,
Right. So a couple things.
And
Remember,
we did a podcast on it.
remember
That was
the 2 people we had on Sasanta? They were the brother and sister.
great. Yeah,
And they talked about how they never really went on family vacations, but their parents would take them to Pine Knob and see shows all summer long. That was like their vacation and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but they were like the ones where, oh yeah, you know,
It's
anybody
the
used to
opening,
open
yeah.
up. You know, it's like
Aside
they
from
have
the-
that connection to.
Aside
the
from the steps, I love Pine Knob.
oh fuck those steps.
Yeah, fuck those steps.
yeah.
You're better off walking all the way around.
Oh my god.
Dude, for Neil Young, right? I was in the parking lot for way too long, catching up with Tom Grasso and Andy, and I'm like, shit. He's starting to sing. I'm actually jogging in because I can hear Cortez the Killer starting, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but then I'm like, shit, I gotta get a beer. You know, so I get a beer, and then finally I look up, I'm like, I'm just gonna stop running because by the time I get a beer, you know,
Yeah.
but I knew he was coming back with Cinnamon Girl #2, so I'm like, I have to be ready for that. So
Yeah, when I used to do football practice and think about 2-a-days in the morning, I get the same feeling about the steps at Pine Knob. The same resentment.
So, well, you mentioned
So I was like, I'll take the long
that
way,
show. That show was awesome. That was the Lumineers
Yeah.
at Pine Knob, which is the first time we saw them at Pine Knob. And Elena was actually home about like 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
So Avery was supposed to stay with her or whatever. But so yeah, it was like me, you, Emily, Kennedy,
Great time.
Neil, Paul, Leah. There was a whole crew of us. Oh, and Nathan,
Yeah.
Nathaniel,
Yeah.
and that show was sweet.
Yeah, it was.
Those stairs sucked because
Yes.
again we waited way too long
Yeah.
in the parking lot. By the time
Yeah.
we're walking up, they're starting.
Yeah. They were rough.
They played well,
They
and
did.
we had a great time.
They are a great live band. We did go see them again.
Yeah, second
about
time.
almost exactly a year later at Pine
Yeah.
Knob, and it was pretty much the same show,
Literally, yeah.
which I kind of didn't mind just because their shows are fun.
Yeah.
You know, they're not a band that I'm like absolutely in love with, but they're a band where I really like a lot of their songs, and they really put on a great live show. And I'm not normally a sing-along guy, but they do a lot of interactive stuff with the crowd, which is cool.
Yeah, I think the second time was the time he came out with his hat. I don't think he did that the first time.
No,
No, the second time he came out.
he came out in the
Yeah, it was
crowd,
pretty
and
wild.
Avery actually held his hand for a minute.
Yeah. I know Avery hasn't washed his hands since.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And actually, Shaq's daughter, I think, was right there too, and had a picture of it, which is super funny. You know that they're both right there at the same time. But no, I think they're a really good live band. Their shows don't change up too much, but they rip through like 25 songs too. You know,
Yeah,
Well,
they do
then-
the classics everybody wants.
Right.
Yeah, well, that
Too.
you said that. the songs that they play are freaking amazing.
Well,
you know, like
well, and the
doesn't
thing is,
matter
like,
if it's
the
same
second
band.
time we
You
saw
like
them,
the song.
they were still touring on
Yeah.
that same album. Like they
You
just
love
kept
the
going,
tune.
you know. It's like
Yeah.
it's this extended tour because they're just blowing up, right? But yeah, out of Colorado, I'd love to see those guys at, like Red Rocks.
Yeah, they've been around for a while too.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like I feel like they were more indie scene when I was in high school, and then they
absolutely.
really came out and went mainstream. Beasts.
Which is funny because that's always the argument with music in general, and you
Yeah.
catch them when they're early on, and
Yeah.
they sold out. Well, no, everyone just loves them.
Yeah,
Just be thankful you got there first.
yeah,
Yeah.
But that was a big. I mentioned it, I think, on the last episode, but the Lollapalooza documentary. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
no, not yet.
And that's the whole thing about it, right? Is it originally started out, it was only going to last 1 year, and it was a farewell to Jane's Addiction because they were going to break up after that. And then it just was so successful that then they kept doing it. But then it got to the point where it wasn't like this indie thing anymore. And then they struggled with bringing on like these huge acts, and it's a pretty cool document. I wish they would actually dug a little deeper,
Yeah,
because
Like the
a lot of
Woodstock
it's a little
one.
more surface,
Yeah.
But it's cool. I would recommend it for anyone. I'm always a big documentary guy.
yeah. What's interesting to me about the Lumineers too is not only do they make good music, they put on a good show. Sometimes it's like, you're either there for the music or just for the fact that they put on a good show, but they do both.
Right,
Those are
absolutely.
nice,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's good. And I don't remember the dude's name that plays drums or whatever, and then he'll come up to the front and do like just the
beast.
bass drum and whatever. And I remember seeing him at Little Caesars, and then they just had a whole stage where they'd pop up in different places and
Yeah.
stuff. And always have tried to kind of incorporate as much as you can, but once you get in those big places, it's tough.
Yeah.
Which I was super surprised to see him running up towards the hill. It's fine now.
I mean, he went deep.
He went deep, dude. He was like
It's
at
not like
the
he
front
went
of the
up
hill.
14 rows. He went to the grass.
Oh yeah, he was up to the grass.
Yeah,
dude.
you guys paid. I'm coming. Don't worry.
Yeah, and there wasn't like a ton of people around
No.
keeping him away. He was surrounded, dude. But that says to me that says a lot about the crowd.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like a mutual respect type of thing, and
Nobody tried to
everyone's
steal
kind of
his
chill.
hat. Yeah.
Well, I mean, shit, the guy was walking around the parking lot trying to sell, not even selling everyone shrooms. He was giving them away.
Giving them
Remember
away,
that guy?
Shroom
Like-
guy.
Shroom guy.
Hey, you guys want some shrooms?
It was like he felt like if they stayed in his car, they'd go back.
Right.
He's like, hey, I got these shrooms. I don't
Right.
want them to thaw out.
Right.
Does anybody want them? You know?
The best night date was yesterday. So I'm gonna just throw them out.
It was great. Yeah, he
Yes.
handed them out. Yeah.
That was hilarious. That's the kind of stuff you love seeing at a show.
Oh yeah.
Keeps you young.
It'll make you remember that specific day.
So the one thing, and I talked about this with Elena a little bit when she was on, but in the vein of live music, the music at your guys' wedding,
Wild.
insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Neil, you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which so you got to experience the whole thing. Hands down, one of the most fun, and not just because obviously I was a little more invested in it, but one of the most fun weddings, without a doubt. And that dude sang for like 2.5 straight hours. Paul actually asked me, he goes, "Was that all the same song?"
Yeah, it was. So there's two things about Arab weddings. When you're walking out, there's a poem, right? So like when we were waiting to come in before the drums went in, there's a poem. And my dad actually hired a guy from Lebanon to make the poem for him to sing. So that's a pretty significant moment.
Right.
And then that guy, he's known, there's videos of Elena singing at Angela's wedding. So he's a really good family friend of ours. So I think he went extra hard.
Yeah.
It's like somebody singing for their hometown. They're going to go a little
Gotcha.
Right.
more. So
Yeah,
he
they did a
knows
little-
my family. He knows and I think he gave it his all. Figuratively.
It was amazing. I mean, even before getting to the wedding, where we had the gathering
The Zephyr,
at the house when the drums showed up. That's what I mean. I was mesmerized because for me, a lot of it is like the drums, the rhythm of it. It gets you into it. And I mean, I want to say at one point you guys had was it five?
Four
drummers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. So
was
there's
wild.
pyrotechnics and everything. I've never been in a wedding with pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
I just had flashes of Great White or whatever, going through my mind
Right.
in Rhode Island or whatever. R.I.P. to like 150 people.
Yeah.
It's definitely not too soon.
Yeah, we had to talk to the hall
Definitely.
guy about that. He's pretty anti-pyrotechnics, but
Yeah.
I don't even know if I said that right.
No, that was so much
definitely.
fun, and there was so much tradition, and like you said, I mean, between the live singing, the drums.
Well,
I was gonna say, but then by the end, we broke out into, I believe there was some Lil Wayne.
Oh, there was, the DJ. So me and Elena like a guy named Young Dolph, R.I.P. And the DJ actually came up to me after, and he was like, "Dude, that's the first time I've ever had a Muslim wedding play Young Dolph." And I was like, "There's a first time for everything, brother."
Yeah,
It was
I
wild.
remember talking to you after the wedding. I'm like, dude, that was amazing. He's like, you said to me, like, I wanted it to be amped up. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted
And
it to be.
memorable.
I wanted it to be that way. And
Yeah,
I was like,
part of that is on the groom and bride.
Yeah.
Right? So like you gotta,
I thought that was cool.
like I'll go to some weddings where I guess maybe they're nervous or just not
Right.
as. No, I was ready to get pumped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
thought
you
it,
definitely-
and
Oh.
it definitely was.
Well,
Yeah.
and then you got your buddies from Chicago or whatever. And the
Greatest
one
crew
guy's got
ever.
the big sign
Greatest
with your
crew ever,
picture
yeah.
on it and
Yeah,
stuff.
the
and-
flag, yeah.
I mean, me personally, I am not a dance floor guy. Like
Yeah.
I'm Brandon Walsh. I stick
Yeah.
back on the wall.
You and Paul.
Yeah. You're lucky to get me bebopping a little at a concert, but I was never off that dance floor the whole
Yeah.
time. It was so much fun.
You were immediate family too, so
Oh.
we would have dragged you.
Well, I will say that I think I finally have like your entire family
Yeah.
is now following two dudes one way, shape,
better
or
be.
form. Every single person, which is great. I love it.
Preach.
No, that was awesome, and obviously just everything since then. And the one thing you've really picked up, and I remember this last summer, I'm looking forward to it again, is the smoked meat
Yeah.
thing that you've got going on with the briskets.
If I ever did a podcast, it'd be about brisket.
Yeah.
And
Every
I will say, I mean,
about brisket.
Yeah.
I love brisket, and from what I understand, it's just like the fucking this part of the cow, like
Yeah.
the kind of the chest.
Yeah,
type
toughest
thing.
part. Yeah.
And I mean, I've had plenty of brisket traveling into Texas for work and stuff. Yours is, I put that up with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember sitting there last summer and getting so fucking fat and just eating nothing but meat. And then you, of course, get them. It's like being at one of those Brazilian restaurants.
Yeah, like
where they just keep
it's
bringing you meat
nonstop.
until you flip your chip and you're sweating and I got done.
Meat sweat. Yeah.
It's like I've been to one of those places like once. You never go again. 'Cause,
Never,
like,
yeah.
I can't control myself. It's like you can tell them no.
It's just still
Oh wait,
tough.
more meat? Yeah, bring it on, bring it on. You're like, you got this fucking mountain.
Or they'll get something that you like, Parmesan crusted filet mignon. Okay.
Twist my arm. I got
No, and that's actually the one thing besides music we've connected on is the love of good food, meats, and
Yeah, I get pretty obsessive about things.
Uh-huh.
And my first paternity leave, I obsessed about smoking brisket for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, before that it was pasta from scratch. Now it's golf. It's really now the only thing that's affected my relationship was golf. My wife ends up getting the brisket and the pasta.
Right,
but
right.
Golf, she gets
no benefit from
except for having to sit with the kids. So.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
no.
this is the only one I get some pushback
Oh
on.
my
So-
gosh.
it. Yeah.
I mean, of course.
There's a reason why I didn't go to like concerts for 10 years.
Oh, I can understand that because golf is so fucking fun.
Oh, golf is great. And actually, I love golf. I mean, I used to be in your guys' league. That was the most fun every Thursday night.
Yep.
And I do love playing golf, but in the end, this has become my golf.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
right,
so like you
right.
said, sometimes there's not benefits for the other ones. I say, well, this is my golf. I
Yeah.
could be out playing golf 2-3 times a week. I go this. We usually have one Saturday a month. We record 2 episodes, and
Yeah, and then when you care about it, it's
but then you
better.
factor in all the fucking
Right.
shows.
Yeah. Full-time job.
But most of the shows, since we're in Detroit, end up midweek, so it's like not that big. of a
And
deal.
also,
we're not losing a ton
we
of
have
weekends.
cool ass guests, of course, like you, Moose. Like
What up?
I mean, we have really cool guests that we're reconnecting with or connecting with like we are right now. But, you know, it's...
Reminiscing, yeah.
Yeah, reminiscing about making...
Yeah, most of our memories are more recent with you.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we had Elena on, and like, of course, we do a little bit of prep and what shows we've gone to, and that's when I started realizing, like, holy crap, I've been to quite a few shows with Elena over the years, you know. And I remember from the very first that we took her to, which was Avril Lavigne, where, you know, to the, I think probably one of the last, you know, before whatever, getting married and going together, was like Rihanna.
Yeah.
But she was like 16 or whatever, and it was Rihanna. Kesha opened up. It was me, Emily, and Jackie, and Elena. And as soon as we walk in, Elena was like, "All right, see ya," and she like totally ditched us. And like, that's when you're like, "All right." She's now, you know, understands what a true concert is, you know, rather than hanging out with
just going for
her
the
parents
friends,
or whatever.
Good time.
But yeah, so we hit Lumineers twice, and then we went to one pretty recently, which was a huge milestone for me. Kane Brown.
Kane Brown.
Very first country concert for this
Great
guy.
show. Great show.
I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, one thing, Luke Bryan will say this about country shows. He doesn't consider himself a renowned singer by any means, but he just knows how to put on a good show and party.
Right.
And one thing about country, I mean, I've been to lots of different things and festivals, and one thing about country is it's an unmatched feeling compared to the rest of them. It's just a good time. Everybody's on the same page. It's just a great time.
And
it's wild.
So have you've been to a few country shows?
Yeah.
I mean, is that kind of your take on them?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally relate with that, yeah.
Because that's what Paul would always say. Is like you go to a country show and it's just like a different feeling almost.
Yeah.
And even country music in general, like the lyrics and everything. It's always about a good time. I mean, I could say that, but it's a good time.
Right.
You're not listening to it to hear a guy falsetto. You know,
No.
It's just a good time.
No, and it's not someone with like really deep, disturbing lyric. It's
No.
someone that's just going this maybe sing about his truck, his beer, his whiskey,
Yeah,
and
I
his
mean-
chick, and
I wasn't a big country guy, and then you kind of experience it. Like, let's talk about Kid Rock all summer long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great song, and then one day you go up north and you literally just fishing and having a good day catching walleye. Literally, and then you're like, you know what? Makes sense.
I remember the song.
I know what he's talking about.
That's funny. It's totally
I get
true.
it now. You know? That is the pinnacle, best Michigan
It's
vacation.
like the summer
in my
song,
eyes,
and
right?
he says something about Leonard.
So like now, when I get in my truck and I go up north, that's what's playing, and we're catching
you'll
walleye.
put that on for
That's
sure.
hilarious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not smoking funny things, but
Walleye
we're
is
catching
fucking
walleye. So good.
God damn.
Good eating.
I used to work with a guy who actually won a couple of walleye tournaments,
That's
like
wild.
pretty substantial money. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Free boats.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he won like two, like back to back, like right in a row. But one time he had us all over for a fish fry. It was
Oh, my
my god, it was so good.
Yeah.
Walleye and then perch.
Perch, yeah. That's your two can't fail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
walleye's
And
pretty-
then
yeah.
obviously in Michigan, it's
Walleye
like
is good.
Yeah,
You'll love it.
Walleye.
I was never a fish guy before. And then what got me hooked, to be honest, I was in Texas for work. Actually, I was a co-op. So years ago, we would go to an all-you-can-eat catfish thing. And that was the first time I ever tried fish, was fried catfish. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Which anything fried you can
And even
mask it.
the,
But you know what? Since then, I've like branched out into other
yeah,
actual fish. I'm
even
like,
the
"Shit's
act
pretty
of
good."
fishing. I don't like doing many things alone. I hate eating alone.
Right.
I just not that guy.
Have you ever been to a concert alone?
Never.
No.
No, I'd never go to a movie alone.
Would you go to a
either.
concert alone?
Probably not.
No. Would you go to a movie alone?
Never.
No.
But fishing, I would fish alone.
Right, and
Yeah.
It's like it's I don't know how to explain it. It's like the only thing where you don't
Very
look at
relaxed,
you don't look at
almost
the phone,
cathartic.
you know, and you
Yeah.
just set up a lawn chair and fish.
Huh.
You know.
So you're just on like bank fishing, not on
Yeah.
boat fishing.
No,
Okay.
no boat. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
No boat.
You know,
One day, hopefully, but
I've never
Well,
really fished in my life.
You could go on a kayak and fly fish or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I mean,
I bought
but
my
yeah.
son. We went to Dunham's recently because I suck so badly at golf. I have to buy 30 balls every time I go. And I bought him his first fishing rod that's car themed. Cars themed.
Cars in the movie.
And we're going up north in August, and I'm going to take him fishing.
Nice.
Right on.
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, we got
That'd be
a
fun.
trip planned in a little bit.
Oh yeah,
That'll
Disney.
be fun.
I can't wait for that.
I know.
I'm a hardcore Disney fan.
You know,
Build a
do you
life.
have no idea how ready I'm going to be for a vacation because I just posted on our 2 Ds and Live Tunes group on Facebook, like, what's the next concert everyone's going to, right? And I looked at mine, and, like, I don't have tickets for anything until Lollapalooza August 1st through the 4th. And I'm like, well, shit, I got to go to something.
Yeah.
But my August, I have Lollapalooza August 1st through the 4th. We have Pearl Jam and Indy.
Yeah.
I have King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard downtown with Kennedy. I have Avett Brothers with John. It's like this August is just like
The
insane.
King
So
Gizzard
come
one.
September, I cannot wait for vacation.
Yeah. The King Gizzard one sounds like a special somewhere. You know.
Which one? The King Gizzard?
Yeah, it sounds like a special.
Dude, you know what's
Yeah.
funny about that? So I was like, a couple of years back, Kenny's like, hey, you guys got to listen to this music to me and Emily. And she's like, it's called King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard. And at first, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
it's an Australian band, and it's like, focus on the music. Like, kind of like interpretive type music,
Yeah.
you know.
Do they come from a land down under?
They sure do. They sure do.
Men at work.
Men at work. And then, so I saw they were coming to Detroit. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. Because over time, I'm like, I kind of listened to them. I'm like, all right, they're pretty cool. But in Detroit, they're doing one of 2 shows, and the whole tour is all acoustic, which is totally against like what they do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that's cool. That's kind of even more cool. You know, I have nothing to base it against because I've never seen them electric. But I'm like, if they're only doing 2, and they normally don't ever do that, that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's actually at the Urethra Franklin Amphitheater. What?
Urethra.
Well, the old Shane Park. You might know.
Okay, yeah.
You might know it as Shane Park,
Okay,
Neil.
yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's now called the Urethra Franklin.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not Shane Park no more.
Okay.
I got a question for both of you, actually. Since you're doing Lollapalooza soon. Have you done many festivals comparative to live music?
No.
Interesting.
So, I'll let you go. Have you gone? I mean,
What, live?
like festivals. I mean, the only festivals I've ever gone to were like the Traveling
No,
Lollapalooza or Horde Fest.
Yeah, I mean, like.
So
there's-
one day, like 5 to 7 bands, maybe a second stage.
Yeah,
same
but not
thing.
like the weekend or extended weekend. This will be the first
Even
time.
Yeah,
like
it's pretty interesting.
Bonnaroo, never been.
No.
There's
Would-
what's the Milan one, and that's
Magic Forest, maybe?
no, not Magic Forest, but the one that's at the
Faster Horses.
MIS. Yeah, Faster Horses.
Faster
Never been
Horses.
there, and that's a country one, but
Mhm.
never been there. That's like a little festival.
Yeah, they got Stagecoach, too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Stagecoach.
So you mentioned you've got.
But
So
no.
which ones have you been to? Festivals?
I've only been to Coachella in 2017.
Oh, so you went to Coachella?
Yeah.
When? 2017. Well, that was not long. I mean,
Yeah.
seems not that long ago, but it's 7 years now.
Damn,
I
it's
guess.
7 years ago.
Wow, yeah. that's
So
a
you
long
were
time.
what, about 24ish?
Yeah,
Probably.
it was,
That was our fucking year when I was 25.
Yeah,
You were.
yeah, festivals,
love
very
them.
different. I was very anti.
Yeah.
Never would say I'd never going to listen to techno music in my life.
Uh-huh.
Like, and then I went. It was the funnest weekend of my life.
I bet I've heard Coachella. I've watched many a video on YouTube of Coachella, and then just looking at.
Well,
the
there's
people.
a niche, right,
Yeah.
for everybody.
Exactly.
So, like the first night we saw, Radiohead was the headliner.
Nice.
You know, and it was like wild.
I bet.
And then the second one is Kendrick Lamar.
Mhm.
So, and then, but at any moment in time, there's a stage for you.
Right.
You like hardcore rock
Right.
and roll, there's a stage. You like techno, there's a stage. You like rap, there's a stage.
Mhm.
You know, but the at that festival, I utterly will never listen to techno music or house music in my life. Jim never, but that was the funnest.
I bet.
I feel
bet
like,
it
yeah.
was so fun.
Wild.
And
Well,
that.
frick, isn't the electronic music festival?
Yeah, movement's going on right now.
Yeah, movement's
It's
going
right
good.
now.
Yeah, it's going on.
Yeah.
It started yesterday.
My sister's
Your
there.
sister's there.
Yeah.
I saw some of the posts.
Yeah.
And that, so just kind of going back, so I did go to Lollapalooza 92 to 95 when I was traveling, but that was the beauty of it. Like, that was new.
Yeah.
Before you would act, opener, done, you know. But this was like 7 legitimately great bands that were prominent, and then that's why this documentary is cool, because I don't remember this shit, but you see all the stuff that they had, like all the activism stuff.
Yeah.
Rock the Vote. NRA was there. It wasn't like they just catered. They had everything there, because back then you had no way to even fucking look on YouTube or on Google.
Yeah,
it didn't exist.
Existed, yeah.
So this is where people would get all this type of information, learn and connect with people. And that was the whole point of the thing in the first place, until it gets commercialized. And that was when it kind of gets into like the third episode or whatever of it, when it gets into that point, right? These bigger festivals. But like you said, for me, it's like, I've always been I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
But then the more and more you talk to people, it's like, so the first night, it's Hozier and Tyler, the Creator, are on the main stages. Yep.
Oh, no kidding.
So Hozier's 8:30 to 10, which I want to see him
know
so
that.
bad, because he's next Friday,
Hozier's,
but Ava's graduating. So I can't go see him. Like, oh, perfect. But then Tyler, the Creator, starts at 9.
Yeah.
But it just says 9. So he might go till 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I can hit Hozier and hopefully get over there for a little bit. I've seen Tyler at least.
The thing about festivals that I learned is you never know who's going to come out.
Well, so Lollapalooza just like 2 days ago released their schedule of all. There's 7 stages. Now one of them though is called Perry's stage, Perry Farrell.
Yeah.
And on Saturday, his stage is completely blank and has nothing but question marks.
Interesting.
And I have my whole theory, and this is the
on.
reason why I wanted to buy tickets in the first place. Jane's Addiction, original 4 members, whatever. There might have been 2 like guys that quit because whatever before they
Doesn't
got
matter.
The original 4.
Still Jansen.
Perry Farrell, Stephen Perkins, Eric Avery, and Dave Navarro. They're all back together. They're working. They've completed new music. They're actually touring in Europe right now. And I'm like, what better than to have them show the Lollapalooza, like they're big fucking come home, everyone's back, U.S., blah, blah, blah. And then I started thinking, too, I'm like, well, what about Porno for Pyros? They just had their big farewell tour, they could do one last hurrah or something. So, like, I'm all jazzed up for this day. And you know who I'm going with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to be really creative exactly how I want to figure out. But like that day, I'm almost thinking about get to that stage as early as possible, as close as we can, because who knows what's going to happen. To your point.
Yeah.
So when you were at Coachella, did anything like crazy happen or people pop up or what?
So the good thing, what's interesting about Coachella is we didn't camp. So like we got a mansion in Palm Springs when we were kids. We didn't have money.
Right.
But like you split a mansion, 7 people, and I'm talking pool, 2 living rooms. So even that alone was just fun. Mm-hmm. But when we went, so for instance, there was a guy named Nav, right, who was an Indian rapper from Toronto, and he was just starting out. And when we went to his tent, so some people didn't want to see him, some people did, and me and my friend Chirag went. And what was wild is that he had 3 of the biggest artists ever to come on at that time in a small tent. So he brought out The Weeknd, he brought out Travis Scott, and what you saw was a bull rush of thousands of people to the tent. Wild.
17?
Wild.
2000, oh my God.
Yeah, so this is the pinnacle of Travis Scott.
Wow.
Travis Scott was actually a headliner one of the nights too with Kendrick Lamar and Radiohead.
Oh my God.
And so there was just a bull rush of people, and then you go to, for instance, Future was on, and then
Future's
Drake came
there,
out.
Lollapalooza.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Drake came out during Migos. This was Bad and Bougie year.
Right.
So we heard that 19 times randomly throughout the week. Yeah, but it was just wild. So like you'll go to a small stage where there was maybe a few hundred people.
That was always the best.
And then you'll just see a bull rush. Like the minute that they found out The Weeknd was on. It was wild. But it's a all day, it's a mission.
Oh,
You gotta be hydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
a
can
mission.
do all the drugs you want, but make sure you
Drinking water.
Drink water.
Protein
You know,
bars.
I'm not saying you
Drink
were,
water
but
with every
I mean,
balloon.
I know
You have to.
I've seen plenty, like I said earlier, I've seen plenty of documentaries on Coachella, and not saying that you were, but I mean, people take drugs.
Sober as a whistle, I
Yeah,
was.
yeah. And then, but just make sure you're freaking hydrated. I mean, come on.
And the thing about Coachella is they facilitate a great a great staff. So like there was people I remember seeing who may have taken too many, blue in the face, and like the crowd would carry them to the end, and there'd be full medics there.
Get some help, please. Yeah.
You know, and
Very loving.
Yeah.
You know, it was great.
Well, and that's what we talk about too, like with live music, and more times than not, that's what you hear. You know, like everyone kind of takes care of everyone.
Yeah.
You know? And I keep going back to this documentary Fowlerville because that was the first time I ever seen like moshing.
Yeah.
Like people just
The worst.
beating the shit out of it, which I hated.
Yeah.
You know what else I hated? I hated crowd surfing. You know what I liked? I liked getting as close as possible and just watching the shit because that's what I want to do. And then you always had to deal with people flying over you. I just always hated that shit. But those people are actually having fun.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone falls, they're not kicking them, they're not trampling. They're going to make sure they get up. And, you know, everyone's kind of taken care of.
Travis Scott's set was, so he's obviously been persecuted for inciting
For the
a
thing
riot,
in Houston or whatever.
So he, Travis Scott, big stage, headlining Coachella, randomly came out of the middle of the crowd. It was wild. And then he literally verbatim said, like, if you're not prepared for this, get the fuck out. And like, you just saw masses of people leaving. We did it, but you know,
Well,
like,
'cause
masses of
But
people
you know what to
running.
expect. You're ready, and you know what? If
Yeah.
you got to the point, you will get out.
Yeah,
But
we
it was-
never. Travis Scott, I feel like, is a lot different than people like Future. Where
Right.
I don't know. One thing that opened my eyes at Coachella was rap sets are not. I don't know. I wasn't very fond, even though rap and hip hop has been arguably one of my favorite genres. I would way rather go to either a rock or country concert than a rap concert.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can understand that. And what I'll say is like Tyler, the Creator at LCA, he was awesome.
Yeah.
But it was also one person on two stages, you know, singing his songs. I don't know him. Did a great job. But I love seeing, you know, 3, 4, 8 people playing
Working
instruments.
together, yeah.
And then I'll kind of juxtapose that against Diggable Planets, another hip hop act. And they had like a full 7-piece band supporting them. And I'm like, wow, this is super cool. Because you're seeing that live music. And even though Tyler, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it was a great show. And I'm hoping to catch him at Lollapalooza. This is different. It doesn't
Very
have the
different.
same feel to me
No.
anyway.
It feels like he's just got to be young again. Like,
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
I feel like I'm missing it. You know, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Like I said, he was singing. It wasn't like it's just, you know, listen to a DJ or anything. I mean, but I get that. Lollapalooza is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So the main ones, like I said, Hozier, Tyler the first night. I know SZA, Future,
Love SZA.
and I forget. There's a huge electronic dude, like one of the top guys. Which, like you said, I'll go. I want to go check that out because it's not my thing.
Yeah.
But I've also seen people and enough stuff to understand that it's probably a great effing
You know
time.
what was crazy about Coachella that I was pretty taken back by? The amount of children. They're coming free. Wild.
Yeah.
Like I was seeing kids on people's, like their dad's shoulders. I'm like, dude, what's going on? And I was like, that's pretty cool. And the kid was jamming out, you know, the Migos at
loved
the
it
time.
too,
It was
yeah.
great.
And I'm all for that. I mean, I know.
For sure.
I think
Yeah.
the youngest I took
At
when
a
Avery
festival,
was
though,
5.
too, you know.
Yeah.
But you gotta protect your
Food,
ears,
space, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I showed up to Neil Young last week, and I remember seeing the kid. What couldn't even have been 1 yet. No hearing protection or nothing. I'm all for bringing them, but I mean, protect the ears.
Yeah, you have to.
They're little ones. You don't want to start them out.
That's what
You
Two
know.
Dudes and Killer Tunes
Yes.
is about. Protect the ears.
Yes, the PSA.
You can
Protect the young one's ears.
Protect your neck.
Old like us, who gives a
Protect
shit?
your ears.
I went to minister at Royal Oak, and that place was the loudest thing I think
Yeah.
I've ever fucking heard in my life. Like, I ain't fucking putting no fucking hearing or whatever in. Fuck that.
Yeah, Ram is my son. He doesn't like many things on him. And we took him to Monster Jam, and he heard the rumble, and he was like, dude, give me the headphones.
Give me the headphones. That
This
was
changed
awesome.
real quick, yeah.
That was awesome. I love going to that. I'll go again in
Yeah,
a
yeah,
second.
I will definitely be there next year.
When you guys go next year, I'm going with
Absolutely.
you. Is that cool?
So,
I wanna
great
go
time.
with you guys.
You know what's funny?
I've never been. I've been,
I don't mind
Long
talking
ago. I wanna
monster
go now.
trucks for a minute.
Hell no.
So we saw.
I went with my dad
Oh, it
many
was
years
amazing.
ago. Many years ago.
Yeah.
But I want to go again.
That was the first time I ever went, Neil. I could not believe just the things that these trucks do.
And it's a sporting event.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
there's like
there's
a
the crowd and the everything about it.
I want to go.
But we saw it at Ford Field, so it's quite a bit of room,
And we were first row.
and we were first row. It was amazing.
Wild.
But I saw where people like, yeah, I saw it before at Joe Louis. I'm like, how in the fuck do they put those things in Joe Louis or whatever? It's like, just trying to like turn around, like
Probably horrible ventilation.
like Austin
Oh, yeah.
Powers turning that thing around in the hallway. That's what they're talking like. In there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It was great.
But at Ford Field, I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. I cannot wait to come back. When they also pump music the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a good intermission. Yeah, it's a good time.
and they actually have like 3 different events. They had like a race,
Yeah.
where they go around the track.
They have a freestyle.
And then they do the one thing where you have to do like 2 tricks that you're graded on, but then the freestyle. That's just where they tear those fucking trucks apart and their things are falling off.
And they got a diehard following.
Oh, yeah.
It's like WWE.
Absolutely.
Yeah, diehard following.
And they had the zombie.
Yeah.
And the whole crowd would do the
That's
arms.
literally what I
and
thought
shit.
of, yeah.
I was like, oh my god, amazing.
My
Man, I should've
cousin
did this.
Rochelle has been going to Monster Jam for at least the last 5 or 6 years. She puts it on Facebook. What's up, Rochelle? But she puts on, she's like, dude, we have the best time. I'm like, damn it.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
My old director at
2
work,
boys, and
he would go religiously. And I'm like, why
Yeah.
would you ever do that?
I've always felt
And
the
then I
same
went
way
and I'm like,
until
man,
you do.
I would go without my kids.
Right?
Like, I would just
Absolutely.
go. Yeah.
100% I'd go without them in a second.
Crazy.
What's funny though is that I learned that night. There's actually a college in Ohio where the degree specializes in like extreme sports.
It's crazy.
So like monster trucks and some of this other shit. Like whether it's you want to be one of those people or you just want to be in the background,
mechanic,
like
yeah.
mechanic, marketing, all that. Like they have a whole program around that, which I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. There's a niche for everything.
Absolutely.
well, they should put that all in our high schools now. Everybody should be learning that
That
stuff.
and the tax class.
yeah, and
No,
the tax.
no, there's
stuff,
so
yeah.
many.
Come on,
Although I'm not gonna
figure it
lie.
out, world.
Although I'm not gonna lie, I didn't mind learning how to sew and cook.
Yeah.
It's helped me.
I
That
out.
was
didn't
great. Yeah.
Cook.
I think one time we had to sew up Bob's eye or something. I don't remember. No. All right, so speaking of some of these other shows, I know we're kind of all over the place here, Moose, but you went to actually a really cool show. I think it ended up being in Fowlerville, but in the Howell area, was the farm
my
tour or
gosh.
whatever.
Yeah.
Who was it again?
Luke Bryan.
Luke Bryan, okay. I always forget there's like Luke's, there's Bryan.
Yeah.
So Luke Bryan at the farm show.
One of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember me and Emily dropped you and Elena, Paul, and Leah off, and then we saw you later that night or whatever, and you guys came back.
Yeah, I was in great shape.
You were feeling zero pain.
Yeah.
I remember Elena coming in the house. I'm like, you guys gonna say, no, we're gonna go home. And I look out, and you're just like kind of just, I will say, resting on the hood of the car.
I was taking a nap. Standing upright on the car.
Oh, you were with Paul!
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And my wife was driving.
right. So
Yeah,
you knew
yeah,
you weren't
you
driving,
have that.
and you were with Paul, and that is an absolute combination that it is not going to set you up for success.
You know what happened at that one? So there's a long line, but the line is a party. And there's people who park RVs there the night before, which I always said if it happened again, I don't mind renting an RV and doing that. That sounds
Right.
great. I had a thing of White Claws, and I didn't expect myself lugging it the whole time in the line. So I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm just done holding all of these White Claws. So if you ask Paul, I just started shotgunning them in the line. So I was like, bah! And that set the tone.
That's he would get along with Shaq very well.
Yeah.
It was, but great first country concert.
So that was your first one you ever went
Yeah, was a country fan though,
to? Yeah.
but great country concert.
The first show.
Just the beautiful party on a farm. Yeah, we were all the way in the back. Didn't matter.
Right.
Great
They were
opener.
part of it at that
It
point.
was just everybody was on the same page of just it was the best show.
Nice.
Second best
I
show
like
at Hot
that,
Chili
man.
Peppers.
Now, So then he did. Did you go the second year as well, or no?
No,
Okay, so you just went that first time.
I think he changes farms.
I know he.
'Cause I've
I
been
know.
Googling it,
I want to
and
say
I'm
he
like-
did 2 in Fowlerville,
Yeah, he did 2.
and then now he's done. He's not in
And then
the
he's-
Yeah, because I was telling Elena, like, I'll don't mind renting an RV, and I'd go there the night before and spend the night there after,
Yeah.
and take the kids. too.
So we did that one time for Kentucky Derby.
wow,
So year 2000, you remember the world's coming to an end.
yeah,
So went to Chicago New Year's Eve. Then me and Neil went to Mardi Gras. And then in May we went to the Kentucky Derby because we were just waiting for the world to end, And we were in an RV. There was like 7 or 9. I want to say there was like 9 of us in this thing. It was a 32-footer. And I mean,
Great little RV.
it was the equivalent of having probably say 6 people in a hotel room.
yeah.
But let's say we went with you guys, 6 people or whatever,
At
some
that
small
point,
ones,
it's just
nothing. You
as
just
long
need a
as
place
there's
to
somewhere
sleep.
you could safely sleep. Is all.
It's
Right.
always, yeah.
Right.
it's
No
like-
bugs
You're
are
going the
gonna
day
get you,
before, you're
yeah.
watching the show, you're coming home.
Give me the floor,
You
it's
don't need
fine.
that.
Yeah.
100%.
There's actually a guy pimping out his bathroom. He was like, "Hey," because the line to pee was so long.
Oh, so you sound...
$5, and I'm like, "No, dude, I'll wait."
Uh-huh.
But I was like, if I were you, I'd do the same thing.
So,
Absolutely.
100%.
Number ones only.
That
Yeah.
one, there you
No
go.
number twos.
So, one number one's for guy, no problem. You can figure
Yeah.
out one way, shape, or form. But I will never forget, it was Lollapalooza 93 at Mile and Drag, where it was like 90 fucking degrees. We're not even inside yet. And absolutely miserable. All of a sudden, I mean, fuck it. I got to take the worst fucking dump of my life.
Yeah.
And there was like 1,000 people at the Porta John. I'm like, I can't make it. And then I'm like, I ain't got no toilet paper. I finally found some fucking Kleenex in the car or whatever and had to go take care of shit. It's like, that's what I fear about festivals and these
Yeah.
other things where you don't have the when you need it.
Yeah. They're good.
Yeah.
Shows like Lollapalooza, Coachella,
They
make
down.
enough
They
money.
got it down.
Yeah,
Right?
they
They've
make
been doing
enough
it forever.
money. I mean, Coachella had phenomenal food. You'd
How
never
was
expect.
how was the farm show? Like with all the amenities, the food, the beers, the
It was perfect.
everything. So they did it right. Huh?
You had space.
Huh.
Nobody was up each other's asses. It was perfect.
That seems like a really fun time. Like just a good show and
it-
an experience.
you could-
more than anything.
You could tell that the idea that it was on a farm mattered.
Yeah.
It was just a big, wide open area. There was
Well,
no-
you know what? And it also gave a lot of people access to an awesome show that they may not have.
Yeah.
You know,
not
I mean, it's
driving
not
down
easy to
Detroit.
necessarily drive the Pine Knob from here
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
Great
you know
show.
what? Even the people. I mean, I remember dropping you guys off and seeing them, and they'd have like huge parties, just all hanging out on their porches and.
I forgot
backyards
his
and
name.
stuff.
That guy was a modern day Spider-Man, Batman hero. When we left that place,
Oh, Harold.
oh my God!
Yes, to
There
get out of
was
there. I
a
remember hearing
line.
this story.
There was a line that was not moving, and it would have been hours. And then there was a way out. Let's just say, not to indict anybody, but this guy had a Cadillac, and he did not give a fuck. And he was
Shout
like,
out Harold.
shout out Harold. And he just whipped it. We went in a ditch, came out, and we were out. And even the cops on the way out were like, what the fuck? But go ahead. It was awesome. We were out in 15 minutes.
I remember Paul describing that.
Hours.
He goes, all I remember is Harold like standing up like on the part of the car looking up. He's like, there's where we need to
Yes,
go.
sir.
And that was it. You guys took off. And
In emergency situation, if I was with Harold, I would just.
that's who you want to be with.
I would be. You
That
know
was
what, Harold?
Harold.
You tell me.
Yeah.
you're
Oh, yeah,
the
Harold,
support
Harold.
you
Yeah,
need.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Harold.
Harold
15
Kavitsky.
minutes.
What up, Harold?
15 minutes and we were out.
That's
That was great.
hilarious.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because that is like the worst part, right?
Because there's
Not
one
if
way
you're Harold.
in, one way out. Yeah.
Well, no, well, I showed up late to Neil Young on Wednesday, right? So I end up at Pine Knob, and I'm way deep into the fucking lawn.
Yeah.
But then I look, and they got, the two big metal gates that they open up. And I asked the guy, I'm like, do you guys open those up at the end of the show? He's like, yeah. So I'm like,
Right
3
out.
rows away. I'm like, ah, that's awesome.
When you have a pregnant woman, they just take you to the
No,
front.
and Pine Knob's the worst to get out of, dude.
Yeah, second
Yeah.
Lumineers, we were going to park. Went to the VIP, and I was like, look at her stomach. She's pregnant. She's like, oh, no problem. And parked her right in front of the gate. It was great. Easy out, too.
That's awesome.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
easy. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a.
Yeah, exploited my
Yeah, they gave birth right there in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They named the kid Eddie Money.
Wild time.
Born in Clarkston.
So we talk about Forever 5 here. Did you
Yeah.
have any thought about your top 5 acts that you would take to a deserted island?
I could come up with 4. The 5th one would be debated.
Well, that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. Is now after we had Justin Dunk on the show, he's got the second line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah.
dude, 5's tough, man, because you
It's
end up with
really
like
tough.
6, 7, 8. He goes, I got my second line. If you want to hear that.
It's really tough. To me, I think a big aspect of it is just timelessness.
hmm
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers are probably a number 1.
So
No matter
before you keep going on, but so you and Elena went and saw them at Comerica.
Yeah. So
Shaq was there.
I'm
Had-
number
what, have
one.
you seen them before that?
Never.
Oh, so that was your first
Never.
time. Okay.
And I always told Elena if they ever came, I'd have to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out, I had no idea that they were coming. And I find out and couldn't find tickets last minute. And then Elena's uncle, wife's husband, greatest guy in the world,
Oh, Shammy.
was like, yeah, Ali Shami. He was ready, like, hey, I got 2 tickets. I was only going for the opening act. I can't go. And I was like, it was like 3 hours before, or maybe the
Right.
night before. Best show of my life.
Do you remember who the opener was?
Thundercat.
Fuck, I never even heard of them. Really.
Yeah, Thundercat. There was somebody else too.
Okay.
There was somebody
That's
else.
who Ali was going to see?
That's I don't know if it was
Them or the other one?
it was the opening act was huge. Like they were pretty known. I don't know, I can't remember it. But yeah, he wasn't even going for the Chili Peppers.
That's hilarious.
But that was the best.
So, never seen them before. They're one of your tops. What did you think of the show?
Amazing.
What, any killer tunes, top songs you heard that night?
Was that
They
at
did,
Comerica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was weird, so I was infatuated with their sets before in different places. So they were doing their new album, Dark Necessities, which is a good album, okay album. But then they would do like 4 of their classics, but they changed it every single set. So like
Yeah.
one song they
Every
would do
show.
Zephyr.
Yeah, it's the-
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and then so it was great. They did Other Side. They did Californication. It was the best.
Nice.
Yeah.
Scar, was that? What's that one song? I love Scar Tissue.
Scar Tissue. They never. I don't think they did. They did Scar. They did Scar Tissue. I don't think they did Other Side.
Mm-hmm.
They did Scar Tissue. They did Californication.
Actually, I like our Other Side. That's a great
I love
Yeah.
Blood Sugar Sex Magic. that
Yeah.
album.
And
And-
frickin' back
Like,
in 1990.
That was like
Yeah.
90, 91.
What we were talking about before too. Obviously they're from Michigan. Like
Uh-huh.
the drummer, he brought his mom on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
It was one of the first shows that I knew everything and loved them.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Which
That's
doesn't
cool.
happen. Doesn't
No,
happen
it doesn't.
often. Because my others are dead, right? So like Frank Sinatra to me is
That's one of your
top
5?
top 5 of all time.
Nice.
Okay, sweet.
Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Yeah,
Actually, what's pretty funny is I
I've
get a lot
thought
of
of-
this from my mom.
I've thought of Bob
Okay.
Marley on my
Yeah.
forever.
So that's what I was
five,
gonna.
To
That's
be honest.
Yeah,
very
my mom,
eclectic kind of group. So
My mom took me to my first concert, which was Savage Garden. To
Okay.
listen to
Savage
Truly
Garden,
Madly
yeah.
Deeply Do.
Truly madly.
I was a big Bare
deeply
Naked
do.
Ladies fan as a toddler.
oh shit!
I love
Yeah,
it.
we
Neil
used to-
loves
B&O.
B&O.
B&O,
My
bro.
mom loves Bob Marley, so I was just listening to it as a kid. Yeah, so Sinatra, Bob Marley are top 5. Like I hope I could pass that on to my kids and they enjoy
Nice.
Cool.
that music. Yeah.
So one thing, word of advice: always play your music. They might tell you how much they effing hate it, but
Yeah.
eventually they come around.
Yeah.
They'll play it. Yeah, yeah. They'll
They'll
like
grow up.
The biggest one for me was like Kennedy, because she used to
Yeah.
hate all it. I mean, especially the Beastie Boys.
it. She
She
still
hate them, and
hates.
then all of a sudden I go up in a room and she's got a poster of them.
She
I'm like,
still
what
hates some
happened?
stuff.
You know, and you know what? God damn, some of her tastes. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like older bands. You know, like she likes them. Like, they suck. you know,
I was, I
but
was
like,
lucky
it
enough
blows
to
my
come
mind,
around.
like her taste. You know,
Yeah,
and-
I was lucky enough to come around in the MySpace era too. So like Killers, Panic at the Disco,
Killers. They're at Lollapalooza.
Yes,
I'm
they
excited. Killers and Blink 182.
Blink 182, My Chemical Romance.
I've never been like huge fans of them. I've never seen either one of them, but they're both Lollapalooza. I'm like,
Another one is Drake too. It's hard. Drake, for instance, to me is like my whole high school, college, and early adulthood life.
I never got into Drake, but
he's like, I was telling Elena this. He's like arguably the Michael Jackson of our time in our age group.
Cool. Then I should listen to some more Drake because I love Mike Jackson.
He's got like, so his career, right? In the beginning, he was amazing, and then just like other artists, so like he's got albums like Nothing Was the Same, which is not a mainstream album by any means. And the day that album came out, I drove 6 hours to Champaign, Illinois to visit my friend and listen to it front to back. But like, think about.
And that album probably came out on midnight on a Tuesday, like every single episode of Two Dudes and Killer.
Yes, on the right track.
You probably picked it up and drove straight there.
And what's interesting is, so I feel like in our time, right, growing up, you never listened to something front to back. You listen to the single, and then you might find another one that you like. So that was the first time someone's releasing an album where you're like, no, I'm listening to every song.
Yeah,
you know, so it's I've never experienced that.
No,
it's like I'm going to listen to every.
Because so you're like 31ish, I'm 49. Yeah. So I mean, 18 years. I mean, it's really not that big of a gap.
No,
but no, I would literally buy a CD
and listen front to back.
And I mean, I used to travel for work, driving all the time. I would put a CD in. I would listen to every single song on that CD, and then I would take a new one and put it in. We'd go on road trips.
Well,
I'd pick the first CD, you listen to the whole fucking thing, every single song, whether they suck or not, and then it's Neil's turn. And you just go around until it comes back to you.
When I was younger, of course, I would listen to you just mentioned Michael Jackson. I would listen to freaking Bad.
Oh.
And I would keep listening to that same song. But then I would eventually just...
Because too much of a pain in the ass to rewind the tape.
The whole fucking album's great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like Drake's pretty mainstream, but if he ever had a tour where he did a B-side, like a B-tape, I would be there.
Well, I know Emily was at the Drake versus Lil Wayne show.
Dang. I didn't know. I mean, I know Drake's popular, and
well, I don't know who my fifth be. Those four stand out. I don't know.
So you said that there was some that you didn't know. I mean, what were some of your ones that you were thinking about that almost made it? Any?
Coldplay.
Yeah.
Coldplay is like early onset.
That was your song, Yellow, right?
Yeah, it was our wedding song.
That was cool. I like that.
Yeah, Coldplay's up there. Panic at the Disco. I mean, wow.
And they just called it quits.
Yeah.
Panic at the Disco. Like
you're talking, this is our high school career.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So that's,
So like all memories are associated with these songs.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's what we always talk about, right?
That's why it's great.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you connect with, and it's high school or whatever.
Yeah.
And you connected with it then, right? And you had a certain feeling about it then, and then you reconnected with it maybe 20 years later. It's like a totally different thing, even though it's the same music, same
just like
song,
the Kid Rock thing, never connected with it.
Right.
Got older, connect with it. You know?
Right.
Like just not having work, going up north, zero worries for 4 days, beautiful, you know, Charleville, Boyne City. You connect with it. It's wild.
You say it all 100%. The time in this, but that's the beauty of music.
Yeah.
You know, that, and this is, we're not saying it for the first time. It's just the beauty of music. We all fucking love music.
You know, think about since the beginning of humanity, right? Take it back thousands of years.
Yes.
Right, it's been set in stone since the beginning of time.
You got it. There was music back
then. Taking some old rib bones and banging on something on a rock. And there you go.
Stomping on the ground. At my wedding, it was pretty similar. You know? How high drum, boy.
What is it that keeps you going back, man, to live shows?
Oh, man. Just doing it. You know, having a memory. Right? Yeah. So, like, you could pinpoint that point in time of your life, and you could recreate it and remember it.
Like we're doing right now?
100%. No, I mean...
it's a story. It's a story for when you're eating dinner and it gets quiet. It's a story to tell my kids. It's a story to tell my kid, like Tauram, is, one day your mom was pregnant and I went to the Lumineers. And I was such an asshole. I bought $200 worth of merch to give you something. You might even fucking hate the Lumineers. You know, but just to be able to tell them that one day. You know, I went to Coachella. I think you should too one day, but stay alive, you know.
Right. No,
just
absolutely.
those
do all those
experiences. You know?
Terrible drugs.
That's
Or
something.
do it.
100%. That's something I've always tried to convey to my kids. Have those experiences. Go to shows. I mean, believe me, even I was a little nervous, but Avery and his buddies got an Airbnb in Milwaukee to go see Travis Scott, like 3 or 4 months
It's just a
ago.
wild one, yeah.
Which is fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Marco of all people, I know Marco, he's the one that gets this thing because he's like the only dude that's 18 or whatever. And it's like they show, but you know what? They showed back up. They had a great time. They had a great stories to tell. And
I bet you.
you know, and that's my whole
Fucking
point of it.
blast.
Is like from day one, that's what you do. You go and you have these stories. You reminisce
Yeah.
about them. You tell everyone else about them.
And
you
I
go to
think
more
in
shows
today's,
and more people. And,
Today's day and age, I think kids it's a dying out of having those experiences that we had. You know, talking about doing things like that are pretty like, you know, memorable. And I think the only thing that our kids are going to have that isn't, you know, something normal where the parents are involved is going to be things like live shows and festivals, you know. So I think that's important too. It's a timeless event that's been there.
and music's
Timeless. That's
music.
a nice
I would
word.
say
Zoom,
it's
they
the
tried
great-
Zoom. They tried Zoom shows during COVID. Those sucked.
right?
You know, so it's not like they're going to go AI.
No, and yeah, it's just the whole experience of it.
Yeah.
The live music, seeing it, connecting with
Shroom
everyone
guy?
while you're there. Absolutely.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Every,
where
but
was
you're
your
right, every
shroom
single
guy?
walk of fucking life, dude. You're gonna have some dude that was probably wearing a 3-piece suit.
Yeah.
You got Shroom guy walking around trying to give him away because he doesn't understand refrigeration or anything else.
It's a good time.
But yeah, and for no matter what, for like those 2-3 hours or whatever, you can just totally disconnect,
Yeah.
enjoy it. And everything else.
Even like Coachella, it wasn't all my friends from Chicago. It was a majority, but like we have a connection of being and doing that. That when we're all together, the people who couldn't come don't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
And I bet when you maybe talk to one of your friends on the phone or whatever, and you say, "Oh yeah, remember we were at Coachella?"
all the
You
time.
did this, yeah.
All the time. Yeah.
And you're right. It'll be
Hot,
like that
you know?
rando person who was like kind of outside of maybe like
Yeah.
tight front group, but for whatever reason, you two ended up there for like 4 hours together and just
Yeah.
had that experience.
They
And I
wanted
love-
to do an artist, and we were like, "Yeah, we're not missing that."
Uh-huh.
You know, and we
Yeah.
win. Then we got to be up front when you brought everybody else out.
Right.
The thing that was interesting too is just what you do along the way. We woke up the next day of Coachella ready to miss our flights. And so what we did is we flew into LA, rented a Ford Transit, and drove it to Palm Springs. So then the day of our flights, woke up completely late, hungover as shit,
Yeah.
and had to make it all the way back to LA just in time. We gave them the transit and literally shouted to the security line, "We're gonna miss our flight. Does anybody care if we cut?" And everybody's like, "Go ahead."
Go.
It was just the 7 of us cutting.
That's cool.
And then we were just sprinting and we barely made it. And like you're hungover,
What a
you
good
smell, you're
story.
sweaty,
Yeah.
you know. And then you get home and like we did it, like we made it.
My rule is I only run on the way home.
Yeah, literally. It's the only time you can.
I only ran the way.
Well, unless I'm on vacation. I guess my whole thing is I don't run to catch my work flight. Only on the way home. Vacation, I'll probably run on the way there too. That's hilarious. So, what you got any shows coming up?
No,
I know you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been super busy. Nothing coming up.
I know Paul was talking. What was Paul talking about? Some country show in July or June, late June, I think. It might have been Luke Bryan.
Yeah, I'd be down.
I think Luke Bryan's coming.
I think I want to get. I don't know when the proper age would be to take Ramis. I take the firstborn. That I'm pretty excited about for his because he loves music.
So, I would say it's probably almost never too early. As long as you take the
Yeah, I
proper
was
precautions
say
at
it's
the
probably
end.
never too
The only thing I will say is one, don't
You have
get
to
your
take care of them.
expectations up that they're going to love it because
Yeah.
they probably won't. They're
Probably
gonna
fall
fucking hate
asleep.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But two, if there's like a band or whatever you want to go see, I wouldn't even walk into that place until they're on about ready to do whatever it is that you want to see.
Yeah.
You know, because I remember taking the kids younger and they're like, "When's the rest of the Drew coming on?" 'Cause they get there for the opening band. It's like, "Oh, in about 45 minutes," and they're already bored before they show up. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're kids, right? They don't
Yep.
even fucking get it. But no matter what, you're planting that seed.
They're
So
kids.
I would say it's never too early. Man.
Yeah, my Ramis too. I think has a love for music compared. to
100%.
Yeah, for his first Christmas, I bought him a very nice keyboard. The guy, I went to Guitar Center, and he's like, "What are you like?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my kid's birthday." He's like, "How old are they turning?" I was like, "1." So, or Christmas, and he's like, "How old are they?" I'm like, "1." He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You need to get the protection on this for when he pukes on it or something." I got him a nice keyboard, and he. So when he was first born, I had him watch, all the Godfathers, all the Star Warses, and then a lot of the music. He would cry, and then you throw on Red Hot Chili Peppers Live, and just shut up and watch. And he's a big,
I remember that.
big Bad Bunny fan now.
Uh-huh.
He loves Spanish music.
Music will come on, and he'll just start dancing.
He'll just
He
start
looks like the
dancing.
little kid in the Snoop Dogg video when he like
Literally, yeah.
that's the boss.
Yeah, he Nothing But a G Thing Baby is his favorite currently when we drive. Yeah.
No, and I think that's, if nothing else, it's something we expose our kids to. I've never been one, oh no, you're going to love these bands. It's like you put it on and, sorry, it's Dad's car. You're going to have to listen to it. You
Yeah.
expose them to it. You take them to some shows or you do whatever. And then you let them just kind of figure out along the way.
Yeah,
Sometimes they kind of come back to like your kind of taste a little
Yeah.
bit and you like feel really proud. And then other times they're like, I'm going to keep listening to my own stuff.
I think that's
cool
what happened
too.
with Bob
You know what I
Marley.
mean?
I never
Mhm.
used to like it, but my mom always had it on in the car, and then I got older, and I'm like, wow, this is the best album.
Uh-huh.
Exodus is one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was wild.
Well, I think we're probably about the end, man. It's been
Yeah, we
awesome having you on.
We could talk for another 4 hours. I know it.
I know.
I know it.
Unfortunately, we got about 10 people upstairs just
Yeah.
dying for us to get up
Super excited. We're the life of the party.
Apparently.
Yeah.
there. At least for the muscle.
We're definitely the muscle.
No, but it's been awesome having you on. I
Thank
know
you
we've been
for
talking about
having
it
me.
forever, so it's really cool. I know that we're definitely going to go to some more shows here in the future.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's ever anything you want to go to and you don't have a buddy, I am your guy. I'll go to
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
Especially if it means you can get out of that damn house for
Yes.
a little bit. Just
Hey, Moose.
decompress for a few
I'll be your
hours.
guy too. I mean, I'm
Yeah, if I can't go, or we both can
If
go,
both of
but
you
if
guys
I
are
can't,
going,
Neil probably will. But no, so check us out. Two Dudes, Killer Tunes on our YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And who knows, we might actually catch you out at a show sometime in the
Yep.
future. Peace.
see you.